Oh, no.
No? Okay. Well, anyway, let's get the show on the road, folks. We got some great performers coming up. Thank you for all the tickets you purchased at halftime. We really appreciate that. All your donations will go to patient care and the foundation. The auxilians take everything they make in this show and they give it to the foundation. Just so you guys know, the auxiliary donates over $250,000 a year to both hospitals. That is amazing. And on behalf of the administration, we couldn't do it without you guys, so we really want to thank you all. Let's get the show on the road. This next doctor thinks he's funny. He's from Queens, New York, and when I told him I'm wearing Armani, he put on a tuxedo. If you look closely, he's got diamond buttons. Please help me welcome Dr. John Keats doing comedy.
John!
Thanks, everybody. What a great crowd. Everybody having a good time tonight?
Yeah!
All right, that's good to know. Hey, I wish John Bibby had told me that the sisters were going to be in the audience tonight. I didn't know that, so I'm going to have to abbreviate my remarks. Now that I have that taken care of, my name is Dr. John Keats. I'm a funny gynecologist. That's a very difficult thing to be. I'm going to be sitting there examining some poor woman, and she's in the stirrups, and I tell a joke, and she starts laughing, and then, boom, that spectrum comes dropping down my head, and I have to duck. But before I came to this job, I was working for Buenaventura Medical Group. Some of you may remember that, and we had some very, very strange patients, I got to tell you. This one woman came to see me. She had a French fry in each nostril and a carrot stick in each ear. She said, "Dr. Keats, what's wrong with me?" I said, "You're just not eating right." I saw this patient for the first time. I was taking her history. I said, "Are you sexually active?" She said, "No, I just lay there." I saw this elderly woman. I love elderly women. This old lady came to see me for the first time. I said, "Have you ever been bedridden?" She thought for a minute. She said, "Not for 20 years since my husband died." I love the elderly women when they came to see me. This woman came to see me. This old lady came in, poor thing. She came in and said, "Dr. Keats, I have a terrible problem. I have silent gas. I just can't control it. And it's so embarrassing. No one can hear it, but I know it's there, and I know everybody else knows it because they're all wrinkling their noses. It smells horrible. And you probably noticed when I came in, I had an episode of this silent gas. Is there anything you can do for me?" And I said, "Well, first thing we're going to do is get you a hearing aid." This old lady I did a hysterectomy on. I came to see her the next morning. She was there in the hospital with her adult daughter was sitting next to her. I came to her, a nice little Jewish lady. I said, "Mrs. Schwartz, did you have flatus today?" She said, "What?" I said, "Did you have flatus today?" She said, "What?" Her daughter leans over and says, "Ma, did you fart?" She looks at her daughter and says, "No, it must have been Dr. Keats." I tell you, and I deliver babies too. Some of the babies I delivered are weird. I was taking a call at St. John's the last 3 months. In January, I delivered this baby, weighed 14 pounds. Unbelievable. It was a little boy. His testicles alone weighed 7 pounds. I had to have a psychiatrist see the kid. He was half nuts. This woman who I delivered years before came to see me. Said, "Dr. Keats, I have a problem with my little child. He swallowed an entire roll of nickels, and now he's in the hospital. Can you check with the pediatrician and see how he's doing?" So I called the pediatrician up. I said, "How's the boy doing?" He said, "No change yet." So I was talking to this pediatrician. I said, "Do you ever see any strange people?" He said, "Do I see strange patients? Let me tell you about this one woman came to see me. She brought this little baby. It's the first time I ever saw her. Brings this little 2-3-month-old baby in. Says, 'Doctor, I'm concerned. The baby's not gaining any weight.'" So he examines the baby. Baby seems fine. He says to her, "Is the baby breastfed or bottle fed?" She said, "Well, breastfed." Pediatrician said, "Okay, take your top and your bra off. I'd like to examine you." And he's squeezing her breasts and pinching her nipples. He says, "Well, no wonder the baby's not gaining any weight. You don't have any milk." She says, "Well, of course not. I'm the baby's grandmother." But Patients are strange. This patient told me about her pet duck. Can you believe this? I'm hearing this story. Her pet duck's not doing well. She takes the pet duck to the veterinarian. Veterinarian examines the duck. She says, "Ma'am, the duck is dead." She says, "Don't tell me that. This is my pet duck. I'm in love with this duck. There must be something you can do." He says, "Ma'am, the duck is dead. Please, doctor, please, please. Is there not something you can do?" He says, "Okay, let's go in the exam room." Puts the duck on the exam table, goes in the back. A black Labrador retriever accompanies the vet on a leash, takes the leash off. The Labrador retriever puts his front paws up on the table and sniffs at the duck a few times, barks a few times, goes down. The doctor leads him off and says, "Ma'am, your duck is dead." He said, "Don't tell me that. There must be something else you can do." He says, "Okay." Goes in the back, brings out a Persian cat. Puts the cat on the examining table. The cat walks around the duck, hisses at the duck a few times. The duck doesn't move. Doc takes the cat, brings him to the back, says, "Ma'am, your duck is dead." She says, "Okay, I know you've done everything. I accept the fact my duck is dead. How much do I owe you?" He said, $800. She said, $800? What are you talking about? He says, "Well, it was $50 for the office visit, $750 for the lab tests and the CAT scan." So after I left Buenaventura Medical Group, I went to Kaiser for a short time. Boy, what a penny-pinching organization that Kaiser is. I was going to do a hysterectomy on a patient. I saw her in pre-op. She was covered in bruises. I said, "What happened to you?" She said, "Kaiser wouldn't approve my pre-op enema. The nurses had to beat the crap out of me." I needed a Viagra prescription myself. I went to the Kaiser pharmacy. I turned in the prescription and said, "We're going to have to substitute." I said, "Okay, that's fine." They hand me a little paper sack. I'm walking out. I look in it. It's a tongue depressor and duct tape. So I didn't last with them very long. So then I'm working for Catholic Healthcare West. This was a new experience for me, working for a Catholic hospital. It reminded me of the story of a priest, a minister, and a rabbi. And they're talking about how they've all been ministering for years to people and doing a very successful job in their various respective religions. But they decided, for a challenge, let's see if we can go out and convert a wild animal to our religion. So they go out in the woods where they know there's bears, and they have a camp, and they put some bear bait a few yards from the encampment. And sure enough, they hear something in the bushes, and the priest says, "I'll go first." Comes back about 20 minutes later. They said, "What happened?" He said, "Sure enough, there was a bear out there where we left the food as bait. And I told him about the virgin birth and the resurrection and the Holy Trinity. And I gave him Holy Communion, and I converted him to Catholicism. He's going to be coming to Mass every Sunday." They said, "That's terrific. That's wonderful." So they put out some more bait. Here's some more thrashing around. The minister says, "Well, it's my turn." He goes out there. Comes back about 20, 30 minutes later. How'd it go? It was fine. I told the bear he had to accept Jesus in his heart. I baptized the bear. He's going to be coming to church every Sunday. Now he's a Christian. They said, "That's terrific." So they put some more bait out. They hear another bear thrashing around. The rabbi says, "Well, I guess it's my turn." Goes out there just a few minutes. Horrible, growling, screaming. They see trees waving back and forth, branches of bushes being thrown up in the air. A few minutes later, the rabbi comes crawling back into camp. His clothes are ripped and torn. He's all bloody. The priest and the minister say, "What happened, Rabbi?" He says, "Maybe I shouldn't have started with circumcision." Now I'm running California Health First Physicians. It's a medical group. I got to say, not everybody on the medical staff at St. John's in Pleasant Valley was that thrilled with the concept. And in fact, I had to wind up seeing a psychiatrist. Went to my psychiatrist. I said, "Everybody hates me." He said, "That's ridiculous. Everybody hasn't met you yet." Even my wife doesn't respect me. I said, "Dear, in your wildest dreams, did you ever think I'd be working for Catholic Healthcare West and running a medical group?" She looked at me and she said, "You're not in my wildest dreams." But I got to tell you, the piece de resistance, the cap reval, was for the last 2.5 years working with Mike Murray, let me tell you. There's only one way I can describe it. Let me give you a story that will give you a little idea of what it's like to work with Mike Murray for 2.5 years. This guy wants to get a brain transplant, goes to his doctor, says, "I'd like a brain transplant." The doctor says, "Fine, you just got to go to the brain store and pick out a new brain. Tell me which one you want." Goes to the brain store, talks to the man behind the counter, a lot of brains on display. He points at one and says, "What's that?" He says, "Oh, that's an internist brain. Costs $10,000. I said, "Okay." "What's this one over here?" "Oh, that's a neurosurgeon's brain. That costs $30,000. I said, "Okay, that's interesting." He says, "What's this brain over here?" He says, "Oh, that's a hospital president's brain. That costs $150,000. He says, "Wait a second. Internist's brain is $10,000. Neurosurgeon's brain is $30,000. Why is the hospital president's brain $150,000? Guy says, are you kidding? It's in perfect condition. It's never been used.
Oh, ouch, ouch, ouch.
Thank you, a rim shot. I've been waiting for a rim shot.